Hey guys, doing well today. So before I start this video, definitely click that subscribe button below. We're close to 200 subscribers, so definitely click that subscribe button. So yeah, let's get cracking on. So yeah, obviously I will be talking about the odds for Super Rugby Trans-Tasman for 2021. I mean, it's very interesting to see what the odds are. I mean, some of them you could say are pretty obvious and some are not so obvious. But I am very surprised by some of the predictions, you could say the least. So I thought I'd just give you my, you could say my prediction, but kind of critique the odds that have kind of gone out, because some of them I agree, but obviously some of them I don't. So anyway, here are the first ones. Obviously these are from Paddy Power, so this is just one of the websites that I've gone through, but more or less this is the odds that they have given them, and it's kind of surprising in the sense where, I mean, I expect obviously the Crusaders to be, the number one favourites, which is kind of obvious in that sense. They've predicted them, 5 to 6 favourites, 5 to 6, which is pretty good for what it is, obviously. And yeah, I mean, that's obviously due to, them winning Super Rugby Ultra and the players they have and the depth within their squad. It's, kind of ridiculous, to say the least. I mean, obviously they don't have some key players. You have the likes of Jack Good, who's still being out until 2022. But they have the return of Brandon Enor, which is kind of good to see, because obviously he played a bit within that final, so it'll be good to see his return within this Crusaders side. But obviously that might impact the way that they actually play within that centres, because obviously David Havili's been playing there, so it'll be interesting to see who plays in that centre spot from now on. Really, we might see Havili and Brandon Enor, so we'll have to see how that works. But yeah, overall the Crusaders do have a very strong side, and it's I can definitely see why they've been predicted first. Yeah, obviously with the Blues, they are predicted second, which is kind of surprising in that sense. Where, I mean, I'm a Blues fan, so I'm happy to say that they're predicted that high, and they obviously have the odds of 6 to 1, so it's pretty good odds there. But more or less, I mean, I wouldn't say that they going off Super Rugby Ultra. I mean, obviously they finished third within that whole season, so from my eyes, that was kind of a disappointing result in that sense. We should have at least made the final. That's what I was kind of hoping for. But more or less, we don't have the likes of Caleb Clark. Obviously, he's going to the Olympic team for New Zealand, so that's a big loss in the sense where they won't have him within this competition. But if you do look at the fixtures, I would say out of all the New Zealand teams, the Blues actually have, I would say, somewhat the easiest fixtures, because they have they play the Rebels, and then they have the likes of I believe the Waratahs, and then I think they have countless other. I think they have the Rebels, Waratahs, then I think Brumbies. And then I think they have the Reds, then the Western Force. I think that's how it goes. So it's more or less, they have a pretty interesting schedule, but I think they have probably the easiest one. So I can definitely see why they predicted that high. But yeah, I mean, I guess the Blues generally are just predicted to be that high, just due to them not winning a title in so long. So yeah, hopefully they can do that, but we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, obviously with that third one, they have gone with the Chiefs, which is kind of, I'm not saying surprising, because they were outstanding, to be completely honest. They were outstanding within Super Rugby Ultra, and they definitely showed levels above what they what they were in the previous season. And yeah, hopefully they can bring that within this competition. And their obviously odds is 15 to 2, and that's actually the same with the next two, with the Hurricanes and with the Highlanders and Hurricanes also being placed as 15 to 2. So it's kind of weird to see that all three of them have been placed within the same kind of odds, because from my eyes, I'd actually assume the Chiefs I would assume have greater odds, but within this one, they actually don't. So that's kind of odd to see, because obviously the Highlanders did finish 4th in the competition, as well as the Hurricanes, who finished 5th. So it's kind of weird to see that all the New Zealand teams have actually placed within the top 5, and then all the Australian teams are within the bottom 5, which is kind of odd to see, because the Reds, who are actually in 6th, who actually did win Super Rugby AU, have the odds of 12 to 1. So it's kind of surprising that obviously they're there, and obviously the New Zealand teams are above. I mean, I perfectly would have had them, to be honest, I would have had them above at least the Hurricanes and Highlanders. I think the rough estimate should have been, but more or less they've gone with that decision, so I'm not going to criticise that. I mean, even with the Brumbies, they have 14 to 1 odds, as well as the Rebels, who are 66 to 1. Then you have the Western Force, who have 150 to 1, and then right at the bottom you have Waratahs, which is 500 to 1, which is crazy to think. I mean, first of all, the Waratahs have gone so down recently, and obviously that's due to the performances within Super Rugby AU, finishing last, not winning a game, pretty much not winning a game, and their coach leaving. So now it's just one of those things which, it's going to be a hard one, I'll say, for any Waratahs fans watching. This is going to be definitely a hard watch against all those New Zealand sides. But more or less, I think the Waratahs have a lot of good players, the likes of Will Harrison and Mark. The last name I don't know how to pronounce, but more or less they have a decent squad. I mean, they also have the likes of Jack Malek. I mean, they have good players. So it's more in the case where I just think there's a lot stronger sides compared to them. So I can definitely see why they've been placed at last. But yeah, going off those odds, I mean, it does look that the Crusaders are pretty much favourites again, and that's not surprising in that sense. But it's one of those where I kind of wish, for me, I kind of wish it's Australian versus New Zealand final, but we'll wait and see. I mean, going on to the next one, you know, obviously with this one here, this is from Rugby Forecast. This is actually similar to the previous one, but this is going off a chance of actually getting into that grand final. So they have actually again placed the Crusaders as obviously the highest percentage with 59.5% chance of getting actually into the final. So that's pretty good odds, or pretty good chance you could say there. The Chiefs have actually gone into second into that, so that's just kind of where I'd expect them to be, because obviously they were second place within Super Rugby Trans-Tasman. The Blues, surprisingly, are in 12.2, which is, I mean, again, the Blues have always been weighted as high due to their, you know, you could say, recent performances, or you could say uplifting performances within the last 2 years. But, I mean, yeah, the Hurricanes are at 8%, the Highlanders at 2.5%, and then they have the Reds at 0.1%, and then the rest of the teams, for some reason, are listed at 0. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I get why that's the case, but at 0, come on. I mean, like, the Brumbies are a class team, and then for them to be placed at 0 that's just morally wrong in my opinion. I mean, I think at least like the odds should have been like what, Crusaders, I'd say Crusaders, Reds, Chiefs, Blues, Brumbies. I would have said then, I guess, Highlanders, Hurricanes, Rebels, Western Force, Warthogs. That's what I would have gone with, but more or less, those are the odds winners from both of those. I mean, if I had to make a prediction and actually say who would actually make the grand final, see, this all goes towards a fixture list as well, but also, you know, just looking up these odds, I actually think the Crusaders, unsurprisingly, will actually make the grand final, but I do think I think an Australian team could make it. I think I wouldn't be surprised actually if the Reds do it. I mean, personally, I would love to see a Reds Crusaders final, but it's just one of those which I just. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say Crusaders Reds is gonna be my prediction for the final, for Super Rugby Trans-Tasman tournament, but for 2021. But yeah, that's kind of it with the video. Just wanted to give you guys the odds. Definitely comment below if you guys disagree or if you agree or disagree with these odds. Who do you guys think will win this whole tournament? Because I'm very interested to see if you guys will actually win. Because obviously, you know, if you guys are big fans of one team, I definitely want to hear that, because it's good to hear support for all these Australian sides. But yeah, more or less, if you're a New Zealand fan, comment below. Yeah, let me know which team you support and if you guys think they'll win. But other than that, yeah, just hope you guys have a good day, and yeah, let's get cracking on because this whole competition starts this week, so I'm just excited for it. I'm really excited for it. It's just like that, the whole new competition starts. But anyway, just hope you guys have a good day, and yeah, talk to you guys soon.